Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I've posted a video. I'm sorry, things have been crazy. But today I wanted to hop on and really quick just go through a few decks that I'm actually going to be rehoming, that I'm not resonating with for one reason or another. Nothing against the decks or anybody that loves the decks. I think they're all wonderful in their own ways. They're just not decks that I have been reaching for. Basically, I want every deck in my collection to serve a purpose. Like, I want every deck in my collection to spark joy, I guess, in Marie Kondo's words, and some of these decks have either just felt redundant to keep and to hang on to, or they have just kind of been sitting in a corner and not getting as much love as I feel like they deserve, so I will be finding new homes for them. Anyways, without further ado, let's just dive right into it. The first deck is the Mini Bohemian Gothic Tarot. I think this deck is really beautifully made. The box is very high quality. The cards themselves are beautiful. I just never reach for it. I never use it. I never want to pick it up. And I think it just goes back to the fact that I'm not a dark tarot decks kind of person, and I keep trying to be, because I really want to be one of those people, and every time I try, it just like hasn't worked out for me. So because of that, this one is on my list to rehome. And in a similar vein, the Madame Lydia's Tarot, again, another beautiful deck. I haven't had this one for too long, actually. I don't know. Maybe I haven't given this one enough time. Okay, we're still on the fence about this one. Again, back to the fact that I've just never been a fan of the darker themed tarot decks, but I really want to be. So maybe I'll hang on to this for a little while longer and see if something can come out of that. The next deck is the Smith Waite Tarot deck in a tin, and I actually love this deck. I have the full size of this deck. I have the borderless version of this deck, and I love this mini deck. So yeah, I don't have a good reason to get rid of it, except for the fact that the mini Pamela's Vintage, the bridge size, is my #1 deck. I take that with me everywhere I go, and if I'm ever reaching for a bridge size deck, it's always that deck. So even though I also love this one a lot, it's just not getting the use that I would like to see from it. So that is that. The next deck I'm rehoming is the Wooden Tarot, and I am so in love with the artwork on this deck. And actually, I have the Seeker's Lenormand too, and I'm actually going to be rehoming this one as well. I love the artwork. I think the cards are beautiful, but I struggle, especially with the tarot deck, to read with these cards. They just don't resonate with me at all, even though I really want them to. The next deck we have is the Pam's Vintage Tarot, and I can't believe I'm getting rid of this one, but this is one of my favorite decks ever. However, I 100% prefer the bridge size version of this deck, so it's kind of for the same reason that I'm getting rid of the Smith Waite Centennial deck. Just, if I want the Pam's Vintage, I go for the bridge size. If I want a bridge size deck, I go for the Pam's Vintage. So these two decks, even though I love both of them for their own reasons, I have just not been giving enough love to. So these guys I'm rehoming. And then the next deck is the Textured Tarot. I think these cards are beautiful. They still kind of have that funky smell that I talked about in my walkthrough video. I am sensitive to fragrance and scents and smells in general, so I don't know if I'm just overly sensitive to it, because again, I've never heard of anybody else complaining about it, but I just can't with this deck, even though I think it's so beautiful. It's basically brand new. I've just aired out the cards for a while. The smell really dissipated quite a bit, but I can still smell them, and I think we just kind of got off on the wrong foot, and I think somebody else will love this deck more than I do. So that is another one. And I only have one more deck here. The last one I have is the Tarot in Wonderland. And the cards themselves, okay, my favorite part of this deck is the book. And honestly, I've held on to this deck as long as I have solely because of this book. However, I've just come to realize that I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of these, is it Llewellyn that makes these? Yeah, the Llewellyn decks that come in this packaging. I just cannot stand the cardstock on these cards. So I have actually gotten rid of every deck that I've owned except for this one that comes in this packaging with this cardstock. They literally start chipping on the edges after you shuffle them 2 or 3 times. And they're very flimsy too. So I don't know, I'm just not a fan of the cardstock. So I've just decided that moving forward, I am not going to purchase any more Llewellyn decks that come in this packaging, and I also don't want to own any of them. So for that reason, I am getting rid of this one as well. So there you have it. Those are the, let's see how many, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the 8 decks that are currently on my chopping block. The Tarot in Wonderland, Smith-Waite in a Tin, Pam's Vintage Tarot, even though I love both of these, Textured Tarot, Wooden Tarot in the Seeker's Lenormand, and the Bohemian Gothic Mini, and most likely the Madame Lydia's Tarot, but being that Halloween hasn't come by yet, I'm gonna hang on to this for a couple more weeks and give it another try and see if maybe this deck will be the one that finally helps me fall in love with the darker themed tarot decks. We'll see. So that's it, you guys. Those are the decks that I am rehoming. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!